So last time in the anime we saw that out of nowhere twins teleported to the place where Isla had defeated Flamus. Isla tried to take them away but she ended up right back where she had started. It turned out that Flamus had activated the RPG mechanics. Takuto also knew about this event where the hero would be drawn to Flamus and then a huge blast would occur, but the hero's companion would save him and transfer their power into the hero. And that's exactly what happened here. As a mother, Isla used every last ounce of her existence to save her daughter, and as she took her final breath she asked her daughter to eat her heart, which would grant them powers. I felt bad for these children because this was the second time they had to eat their mother. This broke their mental state completely and they went straight to the Demon Lord's castle and obliterated his entire army in revenge. So now they both stood face to face with the final boss, the Demon Lord. He thought they were just little brats so it wasn't a big deal, and after killing them he planned to offer up this world for freedom in return. But before that he asked the twins if they believed in gods. The twins didn't care about such petty beings and the Demon Lord got his answer. Then he tried to attack them but his barrier was dispelled. A barrier that could block both magic and physical attacks. He was confused because that skill could only be possessed by a hero. The twins gave him no answer who they were so he transformed into his true form. Now that he had done so he could attack with multiple weapons and magic at the same time. But his blades that flew toward the sisters fell as if they were nothing. Then she created a swamp on the ground to attack them. But the Demon Lord's retaliation had no effect. Even his physical attacks proved useless. The sisters were making this a completely one-sided battle. The Demon Lord believed in gods, which made Maria laugh in disgust since they too had believed in the same beings and suffered endlessly. But the Demon Lord was nothing but a loyal lapdog of those gods who granted him new powers. Receiving that blessing he became arrogant, believing none could defeat him now. But out of nowhere a new man dropped down and sliced him in half. That man only tried to help the kids, but the twins became even more enraged at him for interfering in their business. He tried to break the ice and lighten the mood, but when nothing worked he told them they weren't on par with the Demon Lord's level, which was why he interfered. The twins didn't believe in him and were about to kill him because he ruined their revenge. But Atu stopped them both with ice magic. The skill she had obtained from the ice rock was effective. And that's why she told the sisters to return, because it was Takuto's order. But the twins didn't want to back down even if it was the king's order. Atu was reaching her limits as well since these two weren't obeying. So she was ready to fight them if they didn't stop. The twins recalled that the king had given them freedom to do whatever they wished, but only as long as their mother could be proud of them. It reminded them that Isla would never be happy if they bared their fangs against their king. So finally the sisters stopped. Taking the chance, the man ran off and Atu sighed in relief. The twins even apologized for being rude. But Atu noticed that the man who ran away was wearing a school uniform. For now, however, the twins wanted to know if their mother could be brought back, but sadly death is the end for everyone. Takuto heard the news and blamed himself for not realizing that RPG mechanics would be useful here. He thought only he could use such cheat skills, but he was completely wrong. And worse, if the RPG genre had arrived in this world, then how many other types of gaming genres would also appear? Like that man, he was probably a gigolo character from some cringy heroic game where he got a cute partner. He was overpowered in combat but an attention seeker. Meanwhile, we had forgotten about the witch in the north. She was coming back to life after the saint had killed her 18 times. This marked the 19th. That witch was still casual about it because she knew how her game worked. She rolled the dice and got 100 number, and due to this she landed a critical hit on the saint, which meant she finally won. It turned out she was also a pawn sent by the gods, and she decided to head to mynoghra. At that same time, the king of mynoghra was furious because he had lost Isla. Then Gia came to check on him since Takuto wasn't answering his telepathy calls. He reported a few things, but Takuto told him to leave. He was too angry at himself and punched the floor. And with it he realized he had never once checked his own stats, such a noob mistake. Because all this time he thought he was a player, but in reality he was a unit as well. Afterward a meeting was held to decide on a punishment for the sisters for insubordination. But Takuto chose not to issue any punishment. In fact, he apologized, saying his pride and carelessness had caused this. Seeing him apologize made Atu angry, but she held back, and Takuto promised he would bring Isla back. Because at the end of winning Eternal Nations, players were allowed to ascend to the heavenly place where all lost comrades could be revived to live happily ever after in peace, so Takuto made up his mind to achieve that victory. But for that he would have to rewrite the entire world, and if so then the whole world would become his enemy. Takuto was prepared for that, to kill anyone who stood in his way. They had emergency production so they could even produce guns. So he asked them to believe in him and follow him. Afterwards he began to draft a detailed strategy, but then noticed everyone had gathered near a large tree. So Takuto went to check and found that the twins had created a get back soon place for Isla. They believed in their king and trusted that he would bring Isla back. Though reviving the dead seemed impossible and some doubted if they could follow the king's plan, the twins never questioned it. They reminded everyone to stay confident in their path, which relaxed the atmosphere. It rebuilt their will to obey the king no matter what. Takuto overheard all of it. He then went to the place and realized he had been about to create a terrible strategy, but thankfully caught himself in time. The next day Atu came to cheer up Takuto because he was angry yesterday, but right now he had been sulking. He was upset for scaring everyone with his anger, so this time he rephrased his words and said not just he, but everyone together would work to ascend to the victory of eternal nations. And right there our video has to end for today, but stay tuned to find out what happens next, and for that subscribe the channel and hit the bell icon to never miss an update. Till then, take care.